Hi, welcome back to Just Vetting, the podcast where we go beyond the exam room to explore the ideas and businesses and leaders transforming the veterinary industry. Today I'm joined with my guest, Maya Shaposhnik Cadena. Did I say that right, Maya? Pretty
Almost.
good? Almost. She's the founder and CEO of Vetted Pest Health. Maya, thank you for joining me today.
Thank you so much for having me. It's great to see you.
You too. So Maya, I wanted to talk about how your company is bridging the gap between pet parents and veterinarians, and the role of technology is playing in preventive care, and really your journey as an entrepreneur in the industry. So as you know, many people have ideas, but a few turn them into successful companies. What pushed you? I guess let's start there. What pushed you to make the leap? I know you got a really interesting story. So tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, so for me, I have an amazing dog. His name is Shore. He's a French bulldog, and I knew when I got him, I had many friends in the space telling me, "You're gonna get screwed with those medical bills because they have so many health issues." And so I already knew what I was getting into, but I felt that I was in a position to actually care for an animal like this. And so I got Shore, and he was my first dog outside of having a family dog that my husband and I got together. And just going to the vet and going through the experiences on the day to day with him, I felt very alone, like with what I actually need to do to give him care. Like I didn't, for me, it didn't click that going to the vet maybe once a year, maybe twice a year is enough care, health care for a dog throughout the year. And I was looking at him, and a lot of times I started asking myself, like, what if something got stuck in his tooth? Like, he doesn't have nails or a thumb that he can just pick it out, or a toothpick. Like,
Right.
technically, it could be stuck there for a year until, like, I would see the vet again, and, like, what would happen there? And so I started looking at his teeth, and I was like, well, they're kind of like mine. I guess maybe I should brush them. And I felt like I was just one of these pet parents that just wanted to do all these care tasks, but I didn't have any outlet on how to do it, what I should do, like what does really excellent pet parenting look like. And so I got really involved in all these groups online.
Hmm.
And in the beginning, it was like I felt like, wow, I found my people. But then it became really hostile, like very judgmental, like nothing felt credible.
Really?
Yeah, like the Facebook groups. Like one time I remember I was traveling and my dog Shore was with my brother. My brother is a human doctor and he was watching him, and all of a sudden my brother texts me, and I was in Istanbul, like in Turkey. I couldn't do anything from there. He texts me, Maya, something's wrong with Shore. One of his testicles looks like Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer's nose. Like
Oh my gosh.
bright, bright red. Yeah. And I was like, oh my God, like take him to the vet. But it was during Christmas. Like there was nothing, and he was in DC and he didn't have any established care. And so I basically posted that picture of, yes, my dog's testicle on
Right.
the Facebook group. And people just bashed me. Like they destroyed me. They were like, you're such a terrible pet parent. How could you leave him? How could you not take him to the ER emergently? How just it just became like a bash fest.
Huh.
And I just realized like wow, like these forums are, they have some value, and I don't want to diminish them because I a lot of great things happened, but I
Hmm.
realized that this can't be the standard. Like it can't be that I just count on groupthink in like a Facebook chat for, and no one's credible there. You don't know what they're telling you.
Right.
And so that's when I felt like someone needed to do something and really focus on empowering the pet parent from home.
So what were some of the earlier steps? That's the background of the idea. So you have that, and I guess what you see what went on there, and then what was the next step to say, okay,
Yeah.
I need to create a company in that deep vertical that you created that company in. How did
Yeah.
that kind of materialize?
So I was very lucky that I had a very dear mentor to me that is very successful in the veterinary space, Dr. David Bessler, the founder
Hmm.
and CEO of Veg. And I told him what I was experiencing and my frustrations. And he told me, Maya, like, I really feel that you need to go and see what's happening in the vet clinics. Like, I really think you need to expose yourself because you have a perspective from the pet parent side and the consumer side, but you don't have the perspective from the other side, right? The medical side of it. And that way you can truly have the full spectrum. And so he allowed me to go into veg and basically just shadow there. Like, and I would just watch the cases. So I was living in Chicago at the time. I was in business school, and I'll never forget the veg of Lincoln Park, Chicago, that they were so amazing and welcoming. And it was during COVID too. It was a little deep into COVID. It was already January 2021. And they told me, like, you can be here as long as you want. You can watch the cases. And I saw what was happening. Like, I saw people coming in. I saw the veterinarians. I saw the vet techs and the vet nurses. I saw how they were reacting to the
Hmm.
patients. I heard the conversations when people left, and a lot of the conversations were a lot of frustration with the medical teams just saying, like, oh, this could have been prevented. This could have been prevented. This could have been prevented. And, like, having conversations about, oh, I wish they had insurance because this could have been prevented and it's so expensive. And now we have to have this conversation. And so that's when I was like, no one is empowering the pet parent. And the pet parent, I saw how they were assuming that the doctor should teach them.
Hmm.
And I was like, that's never going to happen. Like, there's
Right.
the pressure, the natural pressure in your job cannot be that you're now an educator too,
There's
right?
not enough time in the day for that. They couldn't do it.
Exactly.
Right.
Amount of patients coming in, and then also tools, right? Like printing out a sheet of links, giving them a sheet of links and saying, try this, like
Hmm.
there just wasn't any type of structure or solution to really teach people. And so that's when I decided that I wanted to build something that would bridge that gap and really focus on empowering the pet parent from home so that the pet parent is the primary caregiver. Because I also felt in the industry that it wasn't clear that the primary caregiver is the pet parent. It actually felt like there was an assumption that the primary caregiver is the vet, but you're only going once a year. So
Hmm.
how can that be true? And so I felt like we need a shift, like a mental shift in the space to say, okay, if we really love our pets and we really want them to be with us for a long time, then we need to see them and see that their body anatomically needs care. They need consistent care. Just like humans need care, they need it. And maybe I would argue sometimes more because they age so much faster than us,
Right. 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 Right.
right? And so that was really the impetus to create Vetted. And I think, like, being now 4 years into the business, we've pivoted many times because we've tried as a business to find product market fit, which is one of the hardest things, right? Getting from
Hmm.
0 to 1 in your business and then growing the company when you found that fit. And I think, we went through our first stage of the company. We had like a telehealth service. This is before all the telehealth services came out. But by the time I launched the product, which was about 7 months later, they all, like, the big players started doing it for free. So,
Hmm.
and it was just a timing thing, right? Where it was like,
Right.
there's no way I'm going to compete with Chewy offering free for all their, like, members, right? I'm not going to compete with that. And I had to find a way to very quickly pivot the model and ask myself, okay, how can I empower pet parents? And I thought, okay, maybe it's through meeting them where they're at and coupling it not just at home care, but coupling it with primary care. And so that's when we created our model that we basically opened these mini vet clinics that were inside of dog daycare centers. We would convert, or either they had an empty room or like dead retail space in the front. We would
Right.
convert that space into a doctor's office, a one room doctor's office. We'd have a vet tech and a vet there. We would establish care with the veterinarian, and then the vet tech would be able to do subsequent appointments if needed solo. And we really wanted to empower the vet technician. That was one of our main pillars as well, is like to release pressure on the veterinarian, we must empower the vet techs and vet nurses. Like we
Right.
cannot there has to be some kind of shift in demand and supply with the pressure on the teams. So for us, it was a model that we loved, and we got to meet pet parents where they are. And we did that for a few years. We had 6 different locations in the country. We learned a lot. I think we did have product market fit with the vets. Like the vets
Hmm.
wanted to work with us, the vet technicians wanted to work with us. They love the model, they love the concept. They got to see pets every day because they were literally coming every day to daycare, boarding, grooming, training. And then the care was so much different. And we developed an app on top of that care. So every pet parent that came in used the app for all at home care. And that way we were really able to offer what we believed was the highest level of primary care and that coupled at home care that connected like a thread what the pet parent was doing in the home to what the vet and the nurse are doing inside the office for your primary visits. We did that for a few years, and
Hmm.
in January of this past year, we realized that we couldn't scale this model. That unfortunately, this model, as nice as it is and as different as it is, it's not it's too hard to control the place you partner with because
Right.
you don't own that place. That's someone else's spot, right?
Right.
And it was really hard realization. I remember when I sent the email to the vet teams and the vet nurses, and they knew, they could see that no matter how much we tried to change what was going on the ground in those physical locations, it wasn't our business. We could not. And we were trying and trying and trying, and we said, you know what, this is not going to work. Like, this model only works as a standalone or works in like really premium dog daycares, and there aren't that many in the
Right.
space.
Right.
So we basically had to make that tough decision. And I remember all the, like, I had some vets that actually cried when I told them because they said, like, how am I going to find a place? I love this job. Like, I love this. I don't know where I'm going to find a place like this to work again. And I told them, like, we have to focus on the problem, not the solution. And as an entrepreneur, I really believe that. I was never married to the idea of those mini vet clinics. I gave my 100%, but I also knew that if the market isn't going to accept the idea, it doesn't mean that I just stop or fail. It just means that I need to come up with a different solution. I
Got to
just
pivot.
didn't.
Right.
Exactly.
Right. Right.
And that's when we pivoted to our current model, which I'm really excited about. Actually, excited to share that as of today, the product is live. So you're the first to know, so you can share
Great.
with your audience.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
So,
Thank you.
so no, tell me about the product and how it works.
Yeah, so when we decided to pivot, we had to make a decision on whether we were going to go for retail, like pure retail play, maybe standalone locations and that's it, or we were going to go fully digital and actually move from medical to fully at-home care, to really
Hmm.
own the at-home care space. And so we decided that that's what we wanted to do, that we felt we could have the biggest impact and change in what's going inside the home of the pet and the pet parent. So at the time, I met these incredible founders. They started a company called Doggies, Dogiz, based in the UK. And they basically created an app where you're rewarded as a pet parent for excellent pet parenting. And everything you do, you put into the app, specifically around dog walking. That was the main feature. Like you walking your dog. Okay. So you're going to walk your dog every day, 1 to 3 times a day. You log it in, very similar to Strava's app, the gym app, where you
Hmm.
log in your exercise. You see on the map how much you've walked, the miles, the calories, etc. And you basically compete with other people on like how you're walking your dog and how long and month over month and week over week and year over year. And every time you do that action, you get care coins. And at the end, you're able to use the care coins for either yourself or your pet. You can say, you know what? I've been such a great pet parent. I'm going to buy myself a free Starbucks today. And you use your care coins at Starbucks. Or you say, you know what? Vet care, pet care is so expensive. I'm going to use my coins to pay less on my vet bill or to pay less for my dog food. So we basically create partnerships with all these different B2B companies where you can use the vetted care coins you can use them in those different companies. And so we ended up buying doggies. I actually spent the last 4 months merging the company, all the assets of the company into Vetted and really building out a bigger vision because they were very heavily focused on dog walking.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and they actually created something brilliant with a team of veterinarians over the years. They created these AI tools that you can use at home to check, basically teletriage, but you check if how your pet's doing. And specifically, their most famous tool was called Dr. Poop. So, yeah, so you're walking your dog, anyways, you're picking up their number two, right?
Yep.
And every pet parent knows what the number two looks like because they pick it up
Mm-hmm.
every day. And if it doesn't look good and they're a little bit worried, then they can actually take a picture on the app under Dr. Poop. It analyzes it through a machine learning algorithm that was created by a team of veterinarians. God bless them, looked at 15,000 pictures of poop or something to come up with this algorithm. And they basically, the app tells you red, yellow, green. Red, you need to see a vet within 24 hours. Yellow, we might have identified something, we need more data. Green, you're good to go, keep walking. And so they identified all these different tools, and we bought those assets as well. So Dr. Poop, and now we're building, we have the foundation, but it's under production, Dr. Skin, Dr. Teeth, Dr. Ear, Dr. Weight.
All on the same concept, right? Right.
Exactly. And as a pet parent, every time you do it, reward, 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 points, competition with friends, ability to share. And then you get these care coins, all these care coins that you've amassed, and you use them at our B2B partners for yourself or your pet.
So I guess going forward, it's so new here, the platform that you created. Going forward, you're looking to create more partnerships, I guess, across the country. So if I'm in Wyoming or if I'm in Hawaii, I can use those points and those coins. That's a great idea. You really engage the community.
Yeah.
I guess what's the? This is so new, and you're just listing other aspects of the company already. I guess where do you see Vetted going? I guess what's the vision for where do you see it heading? You've pivoted so many times in such a short period of time. Over
Yeah.
to 4 years that you've started it.
Yeah, definitely. 3 pivots, 4 years.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
every time it's like giving birth again. It's it's so hard. Trust
right.
me, it's hard and it's emotionally hard and people shouldn't even minimize how small that aspect is because trust me, when I had to let go of all my teams in the vet clinics that were operators, they didn't do anything wrong. They were excellent performers. And I did those conversations myself personally
Right.
because I took responsibility for the pivot and I brought them on and I felt that it was my duty to explain to them. And they're very hard business decisions, but I try to be as fair and nice and respectful as possible and just honest, like just be kind and honest about it. So yeah, the pivots were crazy. Where I see us going, so I'm really excited about this app because basically what we did was we took education like Duolingo, a Duolingo type app we built.
Hmm.
We took that where you're learning, but it doesn't feel like a burden. It's not like a checklist because we tried other things in our app before that were more checklist types and people were just like, I have enough things to do in my life. I don't want more things to do, right? And so we took it and we gamified the entire thing and put a rewards program to it. So really it's more like Duolingo and Strava from like a fitness perspective had a baby in pet care and that's Vetted. That's
Hmm.
how I explain the model of Vetted and how we built the concepts. So where I see us going is I don't see us being a US only company. I see
Right.
us definitely being a global company now. Pet parents all over the world using the app. Most probably will focus on English speaking countries just because resources and bandwidth and it's much easier, etc. But I don't see a reason for us to stop. Like anybody technically could use it because it's an app now. Global partnerships, with companies that are all over the world, so you can always use your care coins, etc. And in terms of like, different aspects of the app and what we hope to achieve. So first of all, there are all the different AI tools that we always want to be ahead of, right?
Right.
And different partnerships with companies like caller companies that are picking up all these data points. But what are we doing with the data? Like where does it go? It doesn't really go anywhere, right? And a lot of people are overwhelmed by data. Like they don't know what to do with it. So our ability to really look at the data and be able to package the data in a way that is simple and easy for a pet parent to understand and use, but also for a business to be able to make smarter business decisions, right? So when we have millions and millions of users on the app, we'll then be able to use the data to, for example, tell pet insurance companies, listen, look at this data here, look at these data sets. It's proving that pet parents that are doing X, Y, and Z have less claims, have healthier pets. Let's lower these insurance claims. Let's give you guys some kind of analysis on how to price the claims. And so therefore we can sell those different data points, we can sell them to make the industry smarter and better. And I see that across the board, like that ability to really bring data that nobody has ever had, which is what's happening in the home, to food companies, right? Like food companies work so hard to acquire you. And then they never know if you're on their food or not anymore. And
Right.
if you
Right.
switched, why? Why did you switch? But imagine that all of a sudden Dr. Poop is showing that they're having an issue. They're having a gut issue. Wouldn't they want an opportunity to say, you know what? Next food is 50% off on us. Try this type of food first and retain their customer. There's so many different ways that we can use the data to really make the industry better and smarter. And I see us doing that in a global way.
Yeah, that's great. You really, three pivots in 4 years, and it seems like you're, certainly on the right path. Just going back to one of the things you said in terms of the different pivots, and as an entrepreneur, challenges. What would you say to someone who's aspiring to be an entrepreneur like you, especially in the industry, and maybe you've come across some real challenges, like you're describing, having to let go of, employees who are people who you really care about. How did you face some of those challenges that you had to overcome?
Yeah. It's a great question. It's the hardest part of my job is to let people go that are excellent and that it's like a pure business decision. Like if you don't have a medical practice, what are you gonna do? You
Mm,
know? So like definitely that was the hardest. I would say my like one of the biggest challenges is stamina because of burnout. Like the challenge is actually burnout, right? Like you try and you try and your heart's in it and you put your all into it and like my career is fully in it, like I always say I'm making less now than I made 10 years ago. And I went to business school at one of the best business schools in the world, and I know what my classmates are making. I'm not even
right,
close. And I have to pay
right,
back the business school loan.
right.
Like financially, there's a huge aspect to this. And it doesn't matter to me. Like it's more of like something on the list of like annoying things, but it's not going to change me because that's not what motivates me. What
Mm,
motivates me as a person is making impact. I felt very frustrated and I felt that I'm the right person to make a change in this space. I felt that I do have the stamina and I do have the perspective, and I did a lot of research and built beautiful relationships with veterinarians, with vet technicians. And seeing them and understanding what they're going through, I felt that I could bridge that gap. And so for me, it's just saying it's like a belief in myself that I know that I can overcome the challenges. And when they come, I also don't just dismiss them. Like the 2 weeks I had to let go of the team, I did the calls. I did sometimes 3-4 calls a day for about 2 weeks. It was brutal, and I cried. And I'm not gonna lie, there were calls I cried. There were people that they just had a baby or they just bought a house and it was a terrible feeling. Didn't want to ever feel that I'm causing someone else pain. But when I
right.
told them what's happening and what we're doing and that this model isn't going to survive anyways, they understood. And I tried, especially with those that were really bought in, I tried to find a way that I felt was still generous. For example, giving them, some like gift of equity up front, like like a seed. I saw it as a seed where I'm giving them something from the company for everything hard that they've done, because they allowed us to get to the stage that we are pivoting.
Hmm.
And I told them, like, this is what I can do. I don't have much because, we're a tiny startup. We're not profitable yet. So cash
Right.
isn't a real thing. But I can give you some of the company. And I just hope that I turn that seed for you into like a nest egg, and that all your time with Vetted will be worth something, and that all the learnings and experiences you have will be. And I did that with with our employees that were astounding professionals. I had those conversations. But afterwards, I told my team, I said, I need a break, like after the calls, and I would go for a walk on the water. And sometimes,
Right.
tears would just come down. And I would be like, wow, this sucks. Like, they don't deserve this. But what can I do? Because both are true at the same time. And you just do what's right, but you just also accept that it's hard.
Yeah. Well, I think you nailed it on the head before when you said you focus. I wrote it down. You focused on the problem and not on the solution. And I said there's so many times in this in your path, your career path here, where you could have just said, this isn't working. I'll go do something else, and I'll go,
Yeah.
use that degree for something else, and that's
Yeah.
probably an easy pivot for you. But you weren't
Yeah.
focused on easy or making a quick buck. You're trying to build something that's going to evolutionize the industry, which is really cool. What's like I said, like one piece of advice you'd give someone who sees a problem, let's say in the veterinary industry, and wants to try and fix it? I mean, kind of like what you're doing, just like what you're
Yeah.
doing right now.
Yeah, I would say, so I feel like there's a few pieces, if I can give a
Hmm.
couple, because I,
Yeah,
I see
go.
them as
Yeah.
stages almost. The first one is to not have fear of failure, right? Like, I feel that I've met so many veterinarians. I have so many vet friends now. It's crazy. I feel like since I entered the space, I probably have like 20 vet friends, like that come
Right.
to my house. We do Shabbat dinners together. We travel to see each other, like really beautiful relationships. And a lot of times there's, I can hear like fear of doing something alone. Like I
Hmm.
almost saw a pattern, which is so interesting, right? Because the vets are like in a space that's so beautiful, like so ripe for innovation and change. So I would say the first thing is not have fear of failure, because at the end of the day, like failure is a gift. People don't know that. I really try to fail quickly. If you notice in my pivots, I really try, because there is nothing worse than being in a situation where you are like, it's not working, but you just keep doing it. Like you
Right.
almost try to play like an ostrich.
Right.
And trust me, I loved my clinics so much. They were so beautiful. The people were amazing. It was so easy to just say like, whatever, we'll just try this until we run out of money. But that wasn't a realistic solution, right? That was like a very short-term vision. And so I would tell people, first, don't be afraid to fail, because when you fail quick, you learn so much and you're so much better the next time around. I've learned unbelievable learnings in 4 years. I will never learn like I learned in this startup grind.
Right.
And it's a gift for me, for my life. And I can use these lessons everywhere I go, and the people I've met, the connections I've made, the industry knowledge. I mean, just because it doesn't have a number of money attached to it with some crazy exit right now, and I do believe one day it will, but right now it doesn't mean that I haven't won already. Like, I do believe that I've won. So that's my first aspect. I'd say the second is surround yourself around people that know what you don't know.
Hmm.
And I really try to do this in my life. Like, I no matter how busy I am, I take calls with like new people, I network all the time, because I meet unbelievable people that have done crazy things in their life. And I'm like, now in this model, I'm not a user acquisition marketing genius. Like, that's not me. I didn't do that in my career, right? But now I'm in mobile apps and I need to acquire tons of users.
Right. Right.
It's like a completely different world. So like I'm not going to just say, "Oh yeah, I know everything." Like no, someone asked me yesterday. I was on an investor call and he asked me. He said, "Do you know how to acquire a tremendous amount of users?" And I said, "Me personally, no. But I know how to build a team of very strong individuals that know how to do it. And I know how to lead that team."
Hmm.
And so I feel that it's extremely important to bring people that complement you. And so that way they can challenge you. Because if you're not getting that challenge, you're not growing. It's not happening. And so for me, I think like if I look back on the 4 years, and one of the best things I did at Vetted again and again and again, no matter the pivots, is I built a very strong advisory board.
Hmm.
And it's different than a board. A board is like much less involved, I would say, right? They're like so busy. They're like an hour, 2 hours a month maximum, really high level. It's less nitty gritty. But my advisory board is like unbelievable. And it's been like that since day one at Vetted when I brought Dr. Bessler to be my first advisor, right? He has so much know how. He revolutionized the entire space. So for me, it was like, okay, I'm going to bring him and he's going to guide me. I'm going to pitch to him. I'm going to tell him my ideas and he's going to say, Maya, no, left, right, front, back, side. How about this? Did you think about this? Why didn't you think about that? And you know what, Maya, I love the way you're thinking. Let me connect you with this person. They already did all these different things, right? And he gave me a sprint ahead because he already had all that expertise and he guided
Right.
me. And we did that, and until today he's on our advisory board and he's still extremely active, which I'm very thankful for because it's literally been 4 years and you've seen what Veg has been through in four
Right.
years
Right.
right? But I see my other advisors taking the same exact stance, saying, you know what, Maya, like let us help you. Like our the doctors on our advisory board, they're like, Maya, we're going to help you build the best AI tools, at home tools. We're going to help you build the processes. We're going to connect you with X, Y, and Z company that we think we can maybe white label their services and bring them in. Like, so it's basically a multiplier, an incredible multiplier of things that I'm not an expert in.
Right.
And that is what I would tell people. Surround yourself with people that know what you don't.
That's great advice. And you mentioned Dr. Bessler a couple times, and who better to get a better advisor than him? He's the best, like you said. He's touched so many lives in the industry, mine included. There's so many people I talk to, and his name comes up in some glowing fashion, like you're talking about. So it's great to hear that from him. So tell me, how do you download the Vetted app? Like, where do you get started?
Yeah, so it's very simple. You go to the App Store, you can put Vetted. There are other companies called Vetted. They're not in pet health, but so they might pop up. So you can put Vetted Pet and it will
Hmm.
pop up immediately. You download the app, you go through a quick onboarding process, and then you can immediately take your dog for your first walk. You can see how it logs in the dog walk. You get care coins every time you do that. And then you can also use the app for learnings. There's like a lot of content on the app. So we have areas called More Ways to Care, quizzes, trivias, where you can do like different things to learn through fun engagement about pets, about your dog breed. Over time, it will become more and more customized and personalized as we learn about your pet. And so you do all these different things, and there's a leaderboard. So the leaderboard, every 2 weeks, it resets itself. But first, second, and third place on the leaderboard win care coins every 2 weeks. It gets deposited into your account, and then you, as a user, can use it in our marketplace, which is in the app. You can get gift cards. You can get them for Starbucks. You can get them for Amazon, Target,
Love
and
it.
now we're working really hard on our B2B partnership side. So we're bringing in different companies, pet insurers, pet collar companies, pet food companies, pet supplements, really a wide array of companies
Hmm.
that will basically, you'll be able to convert your care coins with them at a better valuation, kind of similar to the American like credit card point system.
Right.
Um, yeah, so we built something similar to that. And you'll have advertisements throughout the app, targeted advertisements for something that specific you're doing and you would need, right? So let's say you're walking your dog, so maybe one of the pet collar companies ads would come up and say like, you know, don't risk getting your dog lost or something like that. You can use this collar and it has 100% location services so you know exactly where they are at all times, etc., and offer you some kind of promotion in order to buy that product. So we're integrating all those services now. Next month it will already be live and we already have a lot of excellent partners, but we're always looking for more partners. So if you're interested, if someone's hearing this and thinks that this could be a good opportunity for their business, you can always reach out to me via LinkedIn. I check my messages every couple days, and I'm happy to have that discussion with them as well.
Great. Maya, thank you. Thank you for joining me here today. It's good to see you. You got such a great story, and I honestly believe you're just starting out. You're just scratching the surface. It's great. I'd love to see it. And for our listeners, thank you for joining Just Vetting, and I hope this episode, like others, leaves you inspired and informed. Okay? I'll see you next time.